Lunchtime. Hey, Sully. How's it going? Grab the old lunch here. Hey, where is it? Where's my lunch? What the heck? Oh, he took my lunch. What a jerk. I mean, oh. Well, I guess I've been a little hard on him lately. I'll let him have this one. I'll just take his lunch. That's fine. Let's see what Sully's got here. Oh, looks like literal garbage. Great. Am I really gonna eat this? Oh. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Monsters OT, presented by University Hospital Sports Medicine here on Bally Sports Great Lakes. Tony Brown here with you, and we got a packed show. In a minute, we'll get to our headlines, courtesy of Anthem, hand out some mid-season awards as we're almost halfway through the 2020-2021 Monsters season. We'll see which players have caught our eye throughout the first handful of games. Coming up, it will be our marathon interview featuring a chat with Monsters head athletic trainer and COVID officer this year, Tom Bourdon. And we'll get the skinny on how the Monsters are staying healthy throughout one of the strangest seasons that we can remember. And later in the show, it's our Monsters Memory segment, courtesy of HDS Brand Solutions. We'll check in with Ryan Kukta, local hockey player from Strongsville that's been battling cancer. You'll remember he signed a contract with the Monsters earlier, a couple of seasons back, in fact, and now he's through his cancer treatment, so we'll update you on his battle. But first things first, it's time for headlines, courtesy of Anthem. All right, well, seeing as we're about halfway through the Monster season, we thought now would be a good time to take stock and hand out some mid-season awards. And let's start right with the most important award, the Monsters Mid-Season MVP Award. Now, before the year, I'm not sure if you would have expected this guy to be our winner, but I'm going with none other than Brad Thiessen. At 35 years of age, he was expecting to be the Monsters goaltending coach and to have a secondary, maybe even tertiary role in the Monsters goal crease this year. But due to a number of factors, Brad has been in there for 8 of the team's first 12 games as the starter and came off a stretch recently playing 3 games in less than 4 days. It's not an easy thing to do, but without him, I don't know what the Monsters would have in net this year. So for that reason, I'm giving him the Monsters Midseason MVP Award. Now, the honorable mention definitely goes to Travis Wolanski. Tough news for him. He was out to a tremendous start to the season, scoring at a point-per-game pace in his first 9 outings this year. All 4 of his goals were power play goals, but unfortunately, the second-year pro out of Edmonton suffered a knee injury, and it turned out to be a season-ending knee injury. He had surgery recently. He's on track to recover in 6 months, but tough news for Fixie and tough news for the Monsters, too, as he had emerged as one of the real go-to weapons in this Monsters team this year. So to Trey, we say, get well soon. Let's keep it rolling now with another Monsters Midseason Award. Let's go with our Rookie of the Year Award. Now, this was a bit of a tough call. The Monsters have a lot of rookies on the team this year, and several of them are playing really great hockey in their first AHL action. But I'm going to go with Tyler Angle. He has absolutely stolen the show, starting his career with a point streak of 6 games, 7 points over that span. He has been fantastic, and in a normal year, he wouldn't have been with the Monsters right now, as he would have still been in the junior ranks, but because of COVID and the OHL not playing right now, he gets a crack in the pros and he gets a crack in the AHL, and the young man is really taking advantage of his opportunity. Rookie of the Year honorable mention this year goes to former Ohio State Buckeye Carson Meyer. He's also been a huge part of the Monsters team this year, and we're going to see and hear from him in just a little bit when we take a look at some of our top plays of the season so far. Moving on, now let's hand out our Monsters Midseason Award for Defenseman of the Year. And I'm going to go with Dylan Simpson. Now, he recently in the offseason signed a multi-year extension to play in Cleveland, and he just absolutely is thriving playing for the Monsters. He is a do-it-all defenseman. He's able to lead the charge offensively when need be, so reliable in his own end, and he wears a letter as one of the Monsters' assistant captains this year, so you know he's important in a leadership dimension too. Honorable mention for Midseason Defenseman of the Year goes to the former Texas Star, Gavin Bayreuther. He has made quite an impression since joining the Monsters. The New Hampshire native has appeared in 8 games so far this season. He's got 8 assists and recently had a 4-assist game against his old team, the Texas Stars. So he has been reliable and super effective on the blue line for the Monsters this season. Moving on, let's hand out our Midseason Leadership Award for the Monsters, and no surprise here, I'm going to go with Justin Scott. Now, we all know Zach Dalpe is the Monsters' captain this season, but he has been recalled to the Blue Jackets taxi squad since late February. So Justin Scott really stepping up, one of the team's assistant captains this year. He is just reliable every single night, and he's closing in on the Monsters' all-time franchise record in terms of games played in his career. You know that number 20 is going to give you his very best and play a 200-foot game every night. So he is our midseason winner of the Monsters Leadership Award. Honorable mention in this category goes to another newcomer, and it's Tyler Secura. He was part of the leadership group with the Rockford IceHogs for the past couple of seasons. He's seen a lot in his AHL career and recently posted his 100th career AHL point. He's now wearing an assistant captain's A as well for the team, and just another guy that you can really count on a night-to-night basis if you're Mike Eaves and the rest of his coaching staff. Finally, our final category in our Midseason Monsters Awards is our Unsung Hero Award. And for this one, I'm looking at a guy who's really endeared himself to fans throughout his time with Cleveland, and that is Evan Poli. Now, the big forward is playing for the St. Louis Blues, and he's on loan to the Monsters this year, so he's not really a Columbus Blue Jackets prospect in any way, but he's got 3 goals, 6 points, and has been a factor both physically and in terms of creating offense this year for the Monsters. Might fly a little bit under the radar, but I think the fans are taking notice of his lunch pail contributions night after night, and Evan Poli has become a fan favorite pretty quickly here with the Monsters. Honorable mention here goes to Thomas Šemić, an experienced defenseman in the AHL, coming over to the Monsters this year from the Springfield Thunderbirds, who are sitting this season out. He signed an AHL deal in the offseason and has been just another one of those guys that you might not think about when you look at the box score every night, but when you look at how many minutes he plays in all situations, and he's just so accountable and so reliable back on the back end for Cleveland. So Thomas Šemić is our honorable mention for the Monsters Midseason Unsung Hero Award. Right now, let's take a look at some of the top plays for the Monsters from the first half of the 2021 season. A lot of big moments, a lot of big goals. Let's take a look and a listen at some of those.
Appreciated by these players. Turnover here and a nice feed ahead. Kirby, a breakaway for Cleveland, fires, and he scores! Nathan Kirby inside the left post. Easily held in though by Šemić. Now I slot Dalpe loads the gun, fires, he scores! Power play goal for Zach Dalpe. Meyer near circle into the slot. Clendening towards the net, he scores! What a move by Adam Clendening. Sneaked his way down the slot. Finally, the Monsters draw first blood. Clendening makes it 1-0 Cleveland. Now Foudy chips into the left circle. Tyler Engel back to Foudy. He scores! Quick snap for Liam Foudy. Forward, here's Carson Meyer. One-on-one, gets past Bartow. He's alone to the back door. They score! What a beautiful play. Meyer to Evan Poli. He's got his second of the game, and it's 4-2 for Cleveland.
At university hospitals, our sports medicine experts bring science and compassion together to develop personalized care plans for athletes at every level, from Pee-wee to pro. The same experts who care for the Cleveland Browns, the Cleveland Monsters, and the Cleveland Ballet keep our local athletes performing at their best. Schedule an appointment at uhsports.org. University Hospitals, the science of health, the art of compassion.
Focus, dedication, a passion for the game. All of these.
Hey, what are you doing in here?
All right, well, you don't have to be a pro to dress like one. Get what the pros wear and all your Monsters gear at the team shop or online at monstersteamshop.com.
Hi, my name is Kyle, and I'm a pharmacist at Discount Drug Mart, but that's not all I am. I'm a daughter, a wife, and a mother. I'm your neighbor, part of the community just like you. Drug Mart is part of the community too. They have been for more than 50 years. Now, more than ever in these challenging times, your neighborhood Drug Mart pharmacy, all of us are here to help you. You can rely on us to go the extra mile, whatever you need, every time. I know in my heart that I can lean on my neighbors, and you can lean on Discount Drug Mart.
How do I look, Bobby?
A little bit lower. Great. Action.
Nobody makes applesauce as thick and rich as my homemade applesauce. Unless they swiped my homemade thick and rich applesauce recipe. I rest my case, Musselmans.
Musselman's applesauce. You'll think it's homemade too.
Welcome back, everybody, to Monsters OT, presented by University Hospital Sports Medicine here on Bally Sports Great Lakes. It's time now for our marathon interview, and we're happy to be joined by Monsters head athletic trainer and this year COVID officer, Tom Bourdon. Tom, it's great to see you, man. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks for having me in here.
All right, so we know what your role is with the team on a year-to-year basis. In a normal year, you're there to make sure the guys are healthy and able to play and compete and be on the ice. But this year, there's an added dimension to that with your title as the COVID officer of the team. So if you could just explain to us what additional responsibilities you have this season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously here in the middle of a pandemic, trying to have hockey season has been an added responsibility of the COVID officer. Our job is to make sure we know the AHL's return to play protocol inside and out, make sure our players were given the protocol, understand what the protocol is. Ultimately, we're kind of the overseers. We make sure that the staff understands it and everybody has a part to play in it, from the coaches to the equipment staff to our medical staff, university hospital, doctors. So basically my job is to coordinate testing, make sure that we're doing what we're required to by the league, which is the 3 times a week testing. The NHL also has its separate testing, and some of our players are under the NHL's protocol, so they're being tested every day. So that's a big part of my job, is coordinating all those tests every day, every week, making sure that we get our results. In the event that we do have a positive test, my job is to inform the coaching staff, the GM, get a hold of our contact tracer, our doctors, go through that process, talk to the player, let them know that they tested positive, what's required of them, according to the CDC and the local health authority and health board. And then try to move the team forward to keep us and everyone else as safe as possible. With that came a whole set of things that, maybe at first didn't seem like a big deal, and then you start working through it and learning as we go. There's no blueprint for what we're dealing with, and we started spacing guys out, using extra locker rooms down at our practice facility, which added a lot more work to our equipment staff, as well as our athletic training staff and our strength coach. And, keeping those guys spaced out in separate rooms, much to their dismay. Hockey is a very tight-knit family, and it's hard when everyone's in separate rooms, much like at your own home when you can't go see your parents, you can't see your buddies. It makes it hard. It doesn't feel normal, which I think is the biggest thing we hear all the time.
All right, now we are familiar with the concept of a bubble from the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs last year, but that was more of a physical bubble where the players couldn't go in, they couldn't go out, they all stayed in the same physical place. You guys have a bit of a bubble in the AHL this season for the team and for the staff, but it's a little bit more conceptual and based on testing. What all goes into that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have protocols for the guys when they're at home, as far as they can't do simple things that we take for granted every day, like go out to eat, sit in a restaurant, those types of things. We try to limit their interactions. We encourage them to use delivery services for food if they want to eat out, things like that. And then inside the locker room, we have to keep everybody else who we didn't deem part of the AHL team personnel out of our locker room. So like normal for you don't get to come down the locker room, jock as well. So even in the hallway itself with the visiting team, we have kind of a partition up and, try to keep both teams as separate as possible until they get on the ice. To coming in differently to our own locker room on a game day, it's been interesting. So.
Yeah, definitely routine is a big thing with hockey players. Routine is a huge thing with the staff too. Even like you said, for me, for Jock, for everybody around the team. So it's a whole new world this year, but we're all making the best of it and getting the job done. We're talking here with Monsters head athletic trainer and COVID officer Tom Bourdon, and it's our marathon interview here on Monsters OT, presented by University Hospital Sports Medicine. Tom, let's talk about the travel. That's a big part of life in the American Hockey League in any year, is travel and all the time spent on the bus. But that's a little different this year, too. You guys are spacing out. 2 buses instead of 1. Tell us about everything that's different for you, for Dustin Halstead, our equipment manager, and for the rest of the coaching staff and players when they're on the road.
Yeah, again, it just takes away from that normalcy that we're used to. So we are using 2 buses. So we're dividing the team into 2. So our coaching staff is split up, our training staff is split up, so that in the event there is someone who tests positive, we're not limiting as many people. Our goalies are definitely on different buses. We try to split the D and the forwards down the middle somewhere. Some arbitrary way that we determined, whether it's their roommate on the road or their roommate here in town. We try to take all that into effect. Unfortunately, we've had some guys test positive, some guys who've had COVID. So we use them as buffers sometimes on the bus. So there's always a lot to think about. There's definitely a strategy behind, picking who is rooming together on the road, who is sitting near on the bus. I mean, we're going a seat in between everybody. So there's a lot more room on the bus. We are traveling day of to 2 cities, which is not the norm. So we will spend 4.5 hours tomorrow on the bus to play a game. We'll travel up to Rochester, play the game, and then turn around and travel right back, which is definitely a lot different. Some guys went through it in major junior hockey, but not the norm when it comes to playing a professional game.
Well, I'll be right behind you in the van there, driving myself to the road games this year. But, yeah, it's just such a massive puzzle to get together and figure it all out when you have a positive test, such a domino effect with all these other things that happen. Well, it's not just, traveling to the games. It's on the bench, too. Things certainly look different there. How does that affect the way that you, as the team's trainer, go about your business, from game to game?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, we're, single-use towels. So guy uses 1 towel and then it goes behind. Water bottles, everybody has their own water bottle, so that's always an interesting treat to watch when guys can't find their water bottle when they come back. And even in between periods, guys are required to put their mask back on while they're hanging out in between periods. Coach comes in, he's limited on how long he can spend in the locker room for team meetings and things of that. We're adjusting to the world of Zoom, doing a lot of video coaching away from the rink for them, which is not as easy as you would think when you're trying to get 20 guys on the same page to be on the ice, to the point of not even being able to talk to our friends on the other side. Obviously we view them as enemies when the game's going on, but the athletic trainers and equipment managers, the other staffs are friends of ours, and it's hard not to be able to go and hang out and have a conversation with them. So it's definitely different.
Very different, but again, an amazing amount of work has gone in, not just to the protocols before the season, but in, for all of you guys, in adapting as the season has gone on. What are some of the lessons you guys maybe have learned throughout this process, or the way that you've sort of changed the way you go about your business as we all get used to this environment?
Well, I think just, creating routine has been important so that you have timings of how we do things and where things need to be, and just being a little bit earlier to get things done, because you have to do it in a distant way. You have to be away from everybody. I mean, simple things that you don't think about, but having enough water in our locker room, our storage area for our water happens to be in the visiting team's tunnel. So we have to plan ahead, so it comes down to a lot of preparation. My assistant Seth's doing a great job. Ben Eves, our strength coach, has really chipped in. The equipment staff, Dusty and Phil, doing an amazing job trying to keep guys distant and keep the gear where it's supposed to be. To our cleaning protocols, that's a big part of it too. Afterwards, the Rocket Mortgage here does a great job with their staff coming in, and some added things that other arenas don't have, with UV lights being set in the room overnight to really, basically kill anything that may be floating around to try to keep everyone as healthy and safe as possible.
Well, it's, a thing that I know everybody appreciates, all of us that work for the team, to be able to still do this job, to have games. It all comes back to all the work that you guys put in behind the scenes. So, Tom, not just for coming in and doing the interview today, but for everything. Thank you so much. It's great to catch up with you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Tony.
All right. That is Tom Bourdon, Monsters head athletic trainer and COVID officer. We hope only for this season. That title, yeah. But we really appreciate his time. This has been your marathon interview. We'll take a break. After this, more Monsters OT. Stay tuned on Bally Sports, Great Lakes.
Welcome back to Monsters OT on Bally Sports Great Lakes. I'm Monsters Public Address announcer Jason Sokol. Without a doubt, this has been one of the most difficult years in our country's history. Not a single family across Northeast Ohio hasn't been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. With hope on the horizon and vaccination rates rising, we offer this song and sentiment on behalf of the Monsters in memory of all those we've lost and in appreciation to everyone whose hard work is helping bring us out of these dark times.
Shadows are falling and I'm running out of breath. Keep me in your heart for a while. If I leave you, it doesn't mean that I love you any less. Keep me in your heart for a while. When you get up in the morning and you see that crazy sun, keep me in your heart for a while. There's a train leaving nightly called when all is said and done. Keep me in your heart for a while. Child, lie, 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 lie low in your heart for a while. Child, lie, 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 lie low. Keep me in your heart for a while. When you're doing little things around the house, maybe you'll think of me and smile. You know I'm tied to you like the buttons on your blouse. Keep me in your heart for a while. Hold me in your thoughts, take me to your dream. Touch me as I fall into view. When the winter comes, keep the fires lit. I will be right next to you. Engine drivers heading north to Pleasant Stream. Keep me in your heart for a while. These wheels keep on turning, but they're running out of steam. Keep me in your heart for a while. Child, lie, 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 lie low. Keep me in your heart for a while. Child, lie, 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 lie low. Keep me in your heart for a while. Keep me in your heart for a while. Keep me in your heart for a while.
At university hospitals, our sports medicine experts bring science and compassion together to develop personalized care plans for athletes at every level, from Pee-wee to pro. The same experts who care for the Cleveland Browns, the Cleveland Monsters, and the Cleveland Ballet keep our local athletes performing at their best. Schedule an appointment at uhsports.org. University Hospitals, the science of health, the art of compassion.
Focus. dedication, a passion for the game. All of these.
Hey, what are you doing in here?
All right, well, you don't have to be a pro to dress like one. Get what the pros wear and all your Monsters gear at the team shop or online at monstersteamshop.com.
Well, hey everybody, welcome back to Monsters OT, presented by University Hospital Sports Medicine here on Bally Sports Great Lakes. It's time to take a little walk down memory lane with our Monsters Memory segment, courtesy of HDS Brand Solutions. And this time we're flashing back to April of 2019, one of my favorite days in all of my time working here with the Monsters. It was a day in which the Monsters, in conjunction with a Special Wish Foundation, the Cleveland chapter, were able to sign local 12-year-old hockey player Ryan Kukta to a one-day NHL-AHL contract. Now, Ryan was battling non-Hodgkin's T-cell lymphoblastic lymphoma, and he was able to join the Monsters on the ice for practice. He had a press conference alongside then Monsters head coach John Madden, and of course was introduced at the game a little bit later on in the week there at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse as a member of the team. It was just a special moment with a special kid. Well, good news. Recently, Ryan, we call him the Cookie Monster, Kukta, was able to head back to the hospital, but this time for an amazing reason. He was able to ring the bell, signaling the end of his chemotherapy treatments. So to his family, to Ryan, congratulations. You are an absolute warrior and an inspiration to Monsters fans, players, coaches, and everybody in the hockey community here in Northeast Ohio. It's so fun to remember that day, and great to hear that you're doing so well, Ryan. Thanks for everything you do, and congratulations again to you and yours. Well, that's it for today's show. We've got a lot of thank yous to hand out. First and foremost, to Tom Bourdon, Monsters head athletic trainer and COVID officer. Great to catch up with Tom in our marathon interview segment. Thanks, as always, to Chris Thomas and Mark Zaremba and the rest of our Fieldhouse creative team for all their hard work on our shows. And as always, thank you even to Sully. Until next time, I'm Tony Brown. This has been Monsters OT. Thanks for watching. It's been presented by University Hospital Sports Medicine, and you can only catch it here on Bally Sports Great Lakes.